So it's been a while since I updated this. This is a view inside the car. I did get the floor pan welded in, as you can see. But at the time, there weren't any other options available to me for the floor pan. This one is actually a 66. And the way you can tell that is because 66 has the oval opening, and that's what they used from 66 on. But 64 and 5, they had a round hole like this, and I found this floor pan after the fact. So it has the round hole, and then the 65 has those that bracket on there, so that when you mount the boot, it comes with this plate, goes on top of the carpeting, and those things are usually pretty hard to find. I've got this one on eBay, but it's not in very good condition. But of course that was after the fact. I'd already committed and welded that other one in place. So now's the dilemma: do I tear that one out or just leave it and then save this one for a future project? But when I said I haven't made much progress, I guess I've made some progress, and that's one of them. As you can see, the transmission and shifter are in it. And my original intention was to put a fuel injected 5.9 liter. This is out of a Dakota RT. Too much junk. There's always exhaust options are few and far between on these. Most people just put the stock 273 manifolds, but they're quite restrictive. And there are a couple of Magnum manifold options that will fit on these. You can see it's pretty tight between the fender apron and the manifold. But early production Magnum manifolds have a bigger outlet than the later ones. And I can't think of the casting numbers right off the top of my head, but this one is actually off of a Grand Cherokee, so it has kind of a shorter outlet, which gives a little more room underneath by the bell housing and between the manifold and the firewall. That other one was so close that I was concerned of having too much heat. And if I do go with this Magnum engine, I'm going to need a place to put O2 sensors, and that leaves a pretty good pocket there for O2 sensor. So on this side, I actually have a 68 through 70 340 manifold, and they will fit with, as long as you're running manual steering. If you have a power steering box, then it won't fit. And then the clutch linkage is something that Brewers came up with, because the bigger bell housing, the pivot points don't line up. And I've done it before on my first car, ran it that way, and it seemed to work all right. But I wanted this one to look like it was factory equipped to be set up this way. It's another reason why I kind of resisted the idea of putting headers on it, but I may end up going that route anyway. It's still kind of a work in progress. But the other problem I had was we installed an 8 3/4 rear end, so the stock drive shaft had to be cut down. So there's the 8 3/4, and I think I figured out the drive shaft needed to be shortened 2 1/4 inches. But it had the ball and trunnion issue on the tranny end. There is a conversion that competent drive shaft place can do to convert that. Just put a slip joint on there and then a yoke on the end that fits inside that flange. But of course, this is all just test fitting. It's not the final fitting, so everything's really dirty and nasty. But I think I've got most of the fitment issues worked out. So I guess there has been some progress, but just not as much as I would like to see. Like I said, life is getting in the way. Too many other things going on. And my first car, which is what this all comes down to, is my first Barracuda was a black 65 with a red interior. So this one is a Formula S. The other car was just a commando car, but it did have a 4-speed. And someone had put a 340 in it. So I had the opportunity to acquire a 340, and I got the initial machining done and was getting ready to do assembly stuff, and then I got laid off and neck injured and etc., and haven't been able to get back to it. But so that's where the project is at this point.